There's a 1 billion ringgit jet plane that just completely vanished. Why? Nobody seems to be able to explain why to this day. Of course, there have been many, many theories. People say it's a terrorist attack. There are conspiracy theories like there is a special or very advanced weapon on the plane that the Americans lost and the Chinese stole. It was on the plane going to Beijing. All sorts of stories like that came about days, weeks, and months after the plane disappeared. Just to recap, the plane was going from KL to Beijing. Just as it got into Vietnamese airspace, when KL Tower Control says, "Good night, MH370, a few minutes later, Vietnamese controllers lost the plane. It went off their radar. But what we do know is the plane basically turned back, took a left turn, came back towards Malaysia, across the Straits of Malacca, and radar lost it again. But satellites above the Indian Ocean, above Malaysia, by the way, there are 8 American satellites above the Indian Ocean, tracking every single thing that's moving in this part of the world. Don't ask me how I know that, because I have to kill you if I told you. The satellites picked up pings from the plane. After that, they lost it again. But what analysts said, or found out, that plane basically traveled southwards towards the Indian Ocean off the coast of Australia. Now totally disappeared. I'm going to run through some numbers because it still begs the question. After 2 years, and by the way, come June, the guy that's leading it, Martin Dolan, is basically saying we have to make a decision on whether we continue or not. Because the numbers stack up as these, and this is the research done by Bloomberg. 130 million US dollars have been spent. That's 745 million ringgit to date, and the dollars are still going up. In a multinational search led by the Australians, they were the experts. Malaysians and the Chinese are also involved. The Chinese, incidentally, have spent $18 million. That's roughly about 80 million ringgit. We have spent 750 million in total. They are searching an area of 120,000 square kilometers. 120,000 square kilometers is about a third of the size of Malaysia. I'm talking about Peninsular Malaysia and and Sabah and Sarawak. Malaysia has a landmass of 360,000 square kilometers, very similar to Vietnam. So they're searching this particular area, about 120,000 square kilometers a day. Okay? Again, about the size of the UK, just in case you have a better idea what UK looks like. They have another 35,000 square kilometers to go to finish the search, and they think they should finish the search by June. They have 20 petabytes. Petabytes. I didn't even know that word existed until recently. As an IT person, that's equivalent to 20 million gigabytes of information that they've collated on the 4 ships that are out there. Imagine your one iPad has 128 gigabytes, which is the biggest one. 20 million gigabytes. Or 20 petabytes, as they call it now. There are about 3 million components on a jet plane. On this particular jet plane. 3 million components, but only one item has been found so far. Not one body, not one luggage, not one life jacket. Luggage, life jackets float. Not one single thing has been found. Sorry, not one of those things has been found except for a wingspan. And that was found thousands of miles away, if you remember last July, in Reunion Island. Now, an expert, Larry Stone, who basically also found, I don't know whether you remember, he found Air France flight 447 over the Atlantic Ocean 2 years after it crashed. He basically said this is probably one of the most difficult searches ever because of where they are searching, the size, the area they're searching, and the characteristics of the area. Rough seas, bad weather, etc. Also, the ocean there, it's extremely deep, it's 6 kilometers. So if you imagine going from here to the Eastern Toll, that's roughly 6 kilometers. That's how deep the ocean is there. And the ocean also has a lot of volcanoes and mountains. And a lot of their sonar equipment have been broken because it hits those things that they don't even expect. They have to start to remove. That's why the bill is so big. So there are pros and cons. The question is, do we hunt or not to hunt? Not to hunt. What are the arguments? It's expensive. It's a very expensive exercise. It's cost us 750 million and the bill's going up. By the end of June, it'll probably cost us more than 1 billion ringgit. It's equivalent to about 3 million per passenger for 2 days. It's a dangerous exercise because I talked about the weather, the conditions. It's dangerous for people that are searching. To hunt. There are moral and social obligations for the government to continue to look, to make that decision to continue to look, no matter what the cost. Reputational risk, not only for Malaysia, but for MAS and for other aviation companies in the world. If we stop looking, my goodness. And lastly, the one piece of evidence that has been found gives us hope. So my argument to you is, because of these three, but more important than the last point, hope, we should continue to search. Back to you.